What are you stockpiling? Jamming in a closet? Over the last year, what have you stockpiled? Well, the answer might surprise you, and you might need to look deeper in that closet. In March and April of this year, toilet paper was such a hot commodity that stores had employees policing the stock so customers followed the big, bold printed instructions, 1 pack per person. Today in this short video, we're going to cover 7 unusual stockpiles you have in your life that keep you from ultimate joy and freedom, especially if your marriage or life feels difficult right now. In the Bible, it says God's stockpiles of loyal love are immense. Well, do I believe that and live as though I do? This got me pondering about my life and our recent events. What am I stockpiling? Why? And how do these stockpiles affect my relationships? So let's unpack some stockpiles and make room for more joy, love, and happiness in our life and marriage. I'll bet you'll be surprised like I was, and maybe even challenged at a few of these on the list. Well, number 1, the pantry. My mom taught me to keep a well-stocked pantry. I regularly reviewed my food supplies and store enough food for a couple weeks or maybe a month. Well, do you practice this same type of stockpile? A quick Google search revealed 1.85 million results on this topic. And Pinterest provides multiple sources for downloadable and printable pantry lists for any preferred food program. During this recent pandemic, my well-stocked pantry and freezer filled in for items that quickly became scarce in the stores. Well, what does your full pantry say about you? Number 2, dreams and desires. Well, is it even okay to stockpile dreams and desires? Would this be a positive cache? What dreams do you have or have had for several years? Is there anything you can do today to move toward achieving one of those dreams? Or maybe your dream pantry is empty. If so, I relate because I stopped dreaming for several years due to depression. One way I know I'm still dreaming is that my world is colorful, because depression turned my world gray and filled it with apprehension instead of anticipation. When those first stirrings of positive what-if thoughts happened, my world turned to muted color. Eventually, as the depression lifted through hard work, counseling, and coaching, full HD clarity color appeared. If you find yourself stuck in the gray, please reach out for help. What dreams are you stockpiling? Or do you need to give yourself permission to begin to fill your dream stockpile back up? Our third stockpile is wounds. It's not a stockpile we often think about, but as I continued to ponder stockpiles, this one popped up. I have stockpiled wounds. You might even call this holding a grudge. Well, it doesn't matter how you name it. What's important is to take an honest look at this stockpile. Would you classify this as storing the wounds, laying them away, or hoarding them? Well, none of those options sound good to me. Stockpiling wounds isn't healthy. What good do we perceive that there is in holding on to that pain? Well, number 4, family heirlooms and photos. I classify these as treasures. They show my history, legacy, and heredity. People who lose their homes in fires and floods often miss these family treasures and pictures the most. These items can't be replaced, like furniture, clothes, and decorative items. Recently at a family event, my cousins, aunts, and uncles reminisced about family members no longer with us. We laughed and shed a few tears, and I heard stories I'd never heard before. Each one enriches my heritage, and these precious moments happen sparsely these days. What does this stockpile say about what you value? Number 5, expectations. Yes, this is different than dreams and desires. These expectations sneak up. When I thought about getting married, I looked at my parents' marriage and expected, that mine would be very similar. I knew it wouldn't be the same, but I didn't realize how many false expectations I brought into my relationship with Dave, and he brought a different set. By the way, this is totally human for every person. The problem comes when these stockpiled expectations remain unspoken and result in wounds, like we talked about earlier. Have you ever taken the time to talk openly about your expectations? I encourage you to do so. Ask, listen, and then resist the urge to judge. Number 6, unfinished tasks. Ugh. How many loose ends or open loops do you have? What tasks do you routinely procrastinate on? These unfinished tasks hack you and your productivity. My coach taught me a helpful exercise to harness these pesky loops. In his book, Unhackable, Carrie prods us to write down every task you need to do, personal, professional, family-related, or whatever. Put one task per sticky note. And yes, you need to physically write them down because it gets the thought out of your mind into a physical space. Next, make 3 columns on a piece of paper or on a tabletop or a wall. I used a wall for a blank canvas and then created these columns with larger sticky notes. These columns say do, delete, or dump. Do, delegate, or dump. That's it. Now take each task and place them under one of these columns. By the way, no cheating by putting all the sticky notes under that do column. And before you tell me you can't do this, think about what's holding you back from tackling a project like this. What fears immediately come to mind? It's normal. Every time we take an action step, our obstacles appear. The shift comes when we understand that the obstacles mean your unconscious brain is working on the solution. So celebrate them. Your creative juices have begun to flow. What unfinished tasks might get finished if you evaluated your stockpile? Well, here's the last one, number 7. Positive emotions. And this is a cache I want to grow. You could call this focusing on gratitude, hope, or joy. The point is to make a mind shift. There are several ways to help you do this intentionally every day. 1, journal your blessings. List at least 3 positive things about your life every day. Number 2, a gratitude jar. You could find or make a fun or colorful jar and then put some slips of paper next to it. If you have kids, they could even cut these or tear strips out of construction paper or whatever. And then have some pens, pencils, or markers nearby. Encourage every family member to jot down something they're grateful for and drop it in the jar. And then once a week, review these together. This is one that's really great to do with your children. Another thing you can do is express thankfulness to others. Tell someone you're thankful for them. Just the act of telling them why you appreciate them lifts your spirits. Try it, you'll like it. And a Harvard study saw an increase in happiness by 15% when someone not only wrote down a positive thought, but shared that in thankfulness with someone else. Here's another way. Ask for forgiveness quickly. We make mistakes more often than we desire, right? So readily ask for forgiveness. When I ask for forgiveness right away, admit what I did, and own the issue, life seems more productive and positive. So what do you stockpile? And why do you stockpile these items? And how do they affect your relationships? These are great questions to work through every day. Look at your stockpiles. How would another person describe your stash? These days, my goal is to build my stockpiles of gratitude, joy, hope, perseverance, authenticity, honesty, personal growth, and dreams. Which stockpile will you focus on first? I'm thankful that God's stockpile of loyal love never runs out. You and I can never reach the end of it. Not only does His love, but His grace, mercy, and truth are available to us every day. We see this in God's written word, the Bible, and He shows us exactly how to live an abundant life. If you find yourself stuck hoarding unhealthy habits, emotions, and patterns, reach out for help. When dealing with difficult marital and interpersonal relationships issues, it's too easy to stockpile negative thoughts and emotions. Your first step to diminish those hoarded items is to acknowledge the pain. I can help. I've been there often. Let's talk. Hop on over to KirstenDSamuel.com. That's Kirsten, D as in Diane, Samuel, Samuel.com, and click the big blue button.